Welcome to LifePoint TV. I'm Pastor Del Phillips, your host for LifePoint, your path to real life. We are we have taken a single verse from the seventh chapter of the Gospel of Matthew to build a teaching series on, and want you to turn with us there so you can join us for our study for today. Matthew chapter 7, verse 14. Want to reread that? Get some of those who might be joining us for the first time up to speed. Just a real quick overview. Verse 14 reads like this: because straight is the gate. Underline that. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Real quick review. There are two significant words in this passage that we have unveiled, and the terminology that's used here is very important. It says the gate is straight. Straight is the gate. Narrow is the way. Straight and narrow. Those are two important terms that we have identified. Straight actually is a definition or an illustration of the dimensions of the gate, the entry into life, implying that it is narrow, it is small, it is uh, of a limited dimension, and it intentionally wants us to recognize that it is not wide open, it's very restricted. Then it says, narrow is the way. Straight is the gate, narrow is the way. The term narrow here actually is not a description of measurement as much as it is an explanation of the conditions of that gate. In other words, it implies that in order to get through this gate, you must be crowded into. You are going to be forced, squeezed into this small, restrictive place. It's not the place where we really volunteer. The reason we are moving through this restrictive small area is because we've decided that we want life. We're chasing after the life that God makes available, and it's because of that choice that we are forced into walking in his plan, his divine plan and purpose for our life. So it's not so much that we volunteered and choose God's way, but we choose life, and that choice of life restricts us to these conditions. So straight is the gate, small, narrow entry. Narrow is the way. We're crowded, forced to squeeze into that small space. That explanation is important because of what we want to highlight in this teaching. It tells us, it gives us the numbers, if you will, the stats on the statistical response in regards to the straight gate and narrow way. It says few, there are only a few that will find it. Only a few, not many, not a number that cannot be determined. It says only a few. Few implying that there are more who will miss this opportunity than there are those who will respond to it. And my explanation for there only being a few is relative to the straightness of the gate, the narrowness of the way. Because the gate is straight, it's restrictive, it's limited. The way is a place where we are crowded and forced to squeeze into something that we don't choose. So only a few can be found who are pursuing the gate and the path that leads to life. Wow, that's a powerful statement. Only a few. I would like to put this out there just for evaluation. There are certain commodities, there are certain material artifacts that have great value because there are fewer of them. They're not available on a grand scale, on a grand scheme, and those items that are harder to find, harder to come across, they have greater value. I would suggest to us that the limited nature of the straight gate and the narrow way that lead to life also speak of its greater value. The very fact that it's not something that's open and broad to all takers. If you were to read the verses that precede this study, we would see Jesus teaching about the broad way, the way that's wide open, the way that has no restrictions. And he clearly says, and many there are that find it. Many there are that pursue or chase after the broad way, the place where there are no restrictions. But what's important is the destination. The clear distinction between the broad way and the narrow way is the destination. The broad way leads to destruction. The narrow way leads to life. I encourage you to chase after that limited, valuable path that leads to life. This is Pastor Dale Phillips encouraging you to stay on that path that leads to real life.